You are listening to the BowHunterPlanet podcast, Season 6. The podcast is supported by Scent Crusher, Scent Off, Game On, Tinks, Cat Work Truck, Victory Archery, Thorn Broadheads, Shadow Hunter Blinds, Cobra Archery, Burris, HHA Sports and HHA USA, Reveal Cellular Cameras, and Deer Camp Coffee. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, and welcome to the BowHunterPlanet podcast. Myself, Dave Thomas, tonight, along with Tim Mazzarana, my co-host, and I don't know. It's like, Tim, you're kind of like the, I don't know, like partner in crime, right? I mean, it's kind of like the easiest way to describe it.
That's a good way to put it. Partner in crime is correct.
Partner in crime.
In it to win it, buddy. In it to win it.
In it to win it. Jay Dumas joining us from the team as well tonight to talk to Brent from A3 Custom Bowstrings, which is a company that has been helping us with our classic series, which is really exciting because it gives you guys, the viewers, a chance to check out some old bows and old models. But the problem is we can't test those bows until those strings and cables get redone by Brent at A3, so that helps us not to blow up in our face and hurt us. So they're never going to see the light of day in the video until they're redone. So that helps, a ton. But before we get started tonight, I just want to say a special shout out to Victory Archery, Tinks, and Burris. We'll just talk about three sponsors real quick of this show. I just want to say special thanks to those three brands who help out with this, support this show. And if you can, please click the links below and check them out. It'd be greatly appreciated, guys, as we continue into this awesome 2022 year of the BowHunterPlanet podcast. And this is the sixth season. And I am, you know what, Tim, I know you're the partner in crime, but like, I am so stoked that we actually made it 6 years. I can't believe it. And the seasons do correlate with years.
Yes. Yes, no, we do. But I remember the days of when we first started, and talking on screen like this and interviewing people and having guests on and all that kind of stuff was a strange world to us, right? I remember that whiteboard that we used to have where we used to, before each call, like write down questions for people to ask and all that stuff. And now we just kind of sit here and be like, hey, Brent, what's up, man? How's it going?
All right, so let's get into it. Brent, tell us about A3 Custom Bowstrings. I guess take it from the top. How did you get into it? How long you've been doing it? And give the viewer really an understanding of the brand itself.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So it all started, 30 years ago in my dad's archery shop, building bowstrings with him. Fast forward through life, shooting competitively, building bowstrings. There was a time where, I stopped building my own. It just wasn't time effective anymore. Started buying bowstrings from other manufacturers, and, it was just always an issue or a quality concern or just something. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to building my own. And, you sell a few here, give your buddies bowstrings here and there. And I kept hearing the common theme that you need to do this for a living. So here we are. So
that's awesome. So how long have you been doing it full time, if you will?
3 years full time.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
Has it? How's the growth trend been? How's everything been picking up for you?
We are growing leaps and bounds. We've beat every forecast that we've put out monthly, quarterly, annually for the last 3 years. So it's been pretty good. So,
that is awesome,
exciting,
man. I know
so
that. Go ahead, Dave.
Is there any bow that has ever like stumped you or anything where you're like trying to redo it? Is there anything that stands out to you? I guess, is there any bow that's harder than another to restring and recable?
They're all about the same. The only biggest thing is, a lot of the older bows, we still restring bows, as in the classic series. I mean, we've got some that date back in the 80s. you'll find in specs and stuff for those old bows are just, they're dinosaurs, but people are still shooting them. So
Yeah, the old teardrop system on the,
Yep, you'll find the old teardrops, which we carry all the material for those bows, but then you get into like the bare whitetail twos and stuff like that, just finding specs for those guys has been a challenge.
I can imagine.
But as far as
we've had some good ones that we've sent you lately. I know we've been going through this series about classic bows, and it is. I was never a bow guy growing up, right? Dave is the one that got me into bow hunting when we started this, to be honest with you. So I never saw the 80s, 90s like Dave has, and getting some of those old classics in the shop. I'm looking at these things going, holy cow, these bows come a long way since the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, we just sent you guys one back that was old teardrop system. Have you guys had a chance to take a look at those bows?
Yep, I just took a look at them the other day. I have to my next step now is to get those in a queue. So what we do is we have these queues of 4s. And so Tim and I did the first queue, which was a lot of the old Matthews bows we had laying around. And now the next queue I plan to do, the next 4 would be the ones you sent specifically. So I'm trying to get those going with Tim Saturday. But yeah, that's the way you guys did that twist in there. It looks so sweet. It looks so sweet.
Yeah. Brent, if you will, walk us through a little bit about like the manufacturing process. Like, what does it take to make a bowstring?
If we're just talking one person building a bowstring, we start with the raw fiber on a 4-post setup. So you basically got 2 posts that slide back and forth. That gives you, we've got a formula for, what is our twist rate and our post dimensions. We lay it up, if you're talking one color, we just continuous around the 4 posts until we get the correct number of strands. We serve the end loops, and then once those are served, they go to twisting. And once they get done twisting, they go to pre-cycle. And that is, our pre-cycle is something that we created. And, we kind of have the brains behind it, but pre-cycling, if you think about what is a pre-stretched bowstring, all manufacturers they statically tension that string. And what they're doing is they're compacting the fibers.
Making it all tighter.
Just trying to get it tighter, right? But you still end up with movement doing it that way. What we figured out and what pre-cycle does is we actually cycle that bowstring over a series of dynamic stretching. So we're up and down the spectrum at different tensions over a given time. And what we found was in the raw material, there's, if you think about something that's been spun around a spool, you're creating more twist in the raw fiber. So once that bow is shot and that string is shock loaded and like oscillated, those little micro twists, if you will, start working their way out. Right. So your strings start getting longer, your bow comes out of time. Well, what we do with pre-cycle actually eliminates all of that.
So you're doing that obviously before it gets installed or onto a bow, right? You got separate equipment to be able to pre-cycle all of that.
Yep.
So how did you guys work out that that seems, in all honesty, I don't know if anybody, I've never heard of that. How did you guys figure that out?
Just years of doing it and knowing that, okay, I can stretch this string for 3 or 4 hours and I still get movement out of it. Where is it coming from? And just kind of getting into the science of the material and figuring it out, and then trying to figure out a way to fix it. I've been told many times, I've kind of got an engineering brain. So I kind of get in the weeds a little bit, but yeah, that's we started off with a Rainbow sprinkler system timer. Is how all this started off, and in my garage, it was kind of crazy the way it all came about. So,
hey, the best businesses were created in the garage, along with ours.
Yeah,
I feel like that's so normal. I feel like this is like the norm.
Yeah, if you look at it like 3 years ago in the garage, when you own a Rainbow sprinkler system timer, and you look at us now, we've got programmable logic controllers, digital display screens. We can control pre-cycle with my cell phone. I mean, we've came a long ways with it, so it's pretty cool.
I have no clue what you just said, which is awesome.
Well, instead of doing things manually, it's all digital. How about that? Is that
There you go. Now I got that one. It's not analog.
Brent, on a typical bowstring, not yours in particular, but an average bowstring, how many shots do you got to cycle through it to get the stretch out, to get that string where it needs to be?
You hear a lot of people say go shoot it a couple hundred times and come back to me,
Right.
and get it tuned. So I would say a couple hundred shots, then come on back. I mean, I tell my customers that when they come in and buy a new bow and we set it up for them, it's got factory strings on it. Hey, go shoot it a couple hundred times and bring it back. We'll get it back in time and tune it back up.
Yeah, I think that's important because a lot of people, especially the new hunters, they forget that step, right? So they go out and they have their new piece of equipment. They're excited about it. They're shooting, they're doing well. And then all of a sudden things start going and they start tweaking and then they get all out of whack and get frustrated real easy.
Exactly. I tell people a lot of times it's not the shooter, it's the bow, it's the equipment.
Right.
If you find yourself out there one week you're shooting good, and the next week you go out there and you're shooting a little high or a little low, a lot of times it's not you, it's the bow. So, don't chase your sights around. Go back and see your technician at your bow shop and get it fixed.
Right.
I'm grabbing that sound clip because it's never me. Just to make that clear.
Oh, God.
I love it, man. So are all your strings made with the same materials, or let's get into the kind of the product a little bit to walk us through, a little bit of your product line.
Yeah, so we brought in Bloodline Fiber a couple years ago. They're kind of a new fiber company on the block. They've actually been in business for I think about 6 years, 5 or 6 years. But we also have BCY products as well. 452X has kind of been that golden staple in the industry for so long. But I'll say in the last year and a half, Bloodline has taken the shop over. We sell about 98% Bloodline to about 2% BCY nowadays. So a lot of people are liking it. It's waxless, it's maintenance free. We're getting faster speeds with it, longer life. Colors are brighter, they stay brighter. It's just an awesome material. So
What about as far as the bows go? I mean, obviously you've been shooting bow your whole life, long time. What are some of your favorite bows you've experienced when you think of the classic idea? What are some of the ones that stand out in your mind, I guess, that are something like, oh, I missed that bow, or I did love that bow, or whatnot?
Man, I think my all-time favorite bow was probably back in the Ultra Tech days of Hoyt. The Ultra Tech, the Pro Techs, those are the bows that just for whatever reason stick in my mind. I just love shooting them. They I guess it goes back to I won a lot of things with those bows, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just remember as a kid, I remember going to the local pro shop. Jay, you might remember Starlight Archery.
Oh yeah,
it was over on Grossbeck or whatever it was. But
Oh,
anyways, I remember
boy.
going in there with my brother, and I remember looking up, and they were like, yeah, those are the good bows. And they had like there was Hoyt, there was Martin. I remember the Cheetah specifically because I remember the name being pretty cool when I was a kid. And then I don't even think there was a Matthews at that time. I'm pretty sure it was just Hoyt and Darton. Darton was there too. I think it was Darton, Hoyt, and Martin were the three big ones I remember seeing.
Martin was another one.
Oh, Pearson. Pearson was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Browning had some bows, which is what I was shooting at that time. But so
my first compound was a Browning, a Firefox 2. It was like one of the only youth bows that they made back in the day.
Nice.
But
mine was
my dad owned my dad owned an archery shop, so I grew up in a shop, tearing bows apart and putting them back together since I was like 10. But I can remember High Country.
I forgot about that.
Original High Country, right? Jennings, we had Jennings in the shop.
Yeah. Jennings.
We had York and PSC in there. A lot of people don't even remember York because they were such a short-lived company, but they made a phenomenal bow.
I do remember York though. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember the name. That's funny.
I just read something the other day about Jennings. I could have sworn, I don't know if this is accurate, so take it with a grain of salt, but what I read was something about there was a lawsuit with somebody And in 2000, I don't remember the year. I was like 2004, 2007. I don't know what happened. Something with the lawsuit. They were acquired by Bear Archery, and then that was it. They're gone. Just like Brownie was acquired by PSC and disappeared as well. Does that sound familiar to you?
I think that I've got some old Bear stuff, and they actually cross with Jennings in some of the models, so that may hold some truth.
Yeah, because I remember something. I read something just this week about it.
Well,
I just Googled it. It said Bear, Jennings, and Golden Eagle are owned by the same company. So obviously Escalade owns all of that, or whoever owns. Yeah, Escalade, I think it is. So they must not have reused those names, right? The names, they probably decided to keep the most influential name, which would be most likely Bear, I think, for most people, but which I guess makes the most sense.
Right.
Man, the history.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lawsuit involved if it had something to do with patent infringements, right? That seems to be a common trend within the industry. So
yeah, Darton is that main player that holds a lot of the cam technology patents in the industry still today. So
yeah, I wonder how people are getting around those patents, because I feel like you don't hear a lot about it anymore as much. I didn't know if those were up now. I knew they had them for a long time. I just didn't know.
PSC is that 5-piece harness system on the Evolve cam a few years back. I guess a couple years back, they just quit doing that. That was Darton. I think they were paid for that system. But
yeah, I wish Darton would have just kept at it with the bows more. I know now they're acquired by Black Eagle. They'll probably do some great things coming up, but I feel like for a while there, they just backed off and just focused on those patents and not, creating good bows. Not that the bows were bad. They just didn't keep up with the new, I guess, is the problem. They would take a bow and say 3800, and then they relaunched 3800 the next year. It's the same bow, and they call it 3800 like A or something. It wasn't like it was, and they still doing it. If you go in there right now, they got the Demon, which they renamed something. It's the same bow. It's like the same exact bow.
So this may be hearsay too, but I heard that Randy made him change the name of the Demon to the Cyclone because he didn't like Demon.
Yeah, and there you go.
That makes sense, actually, knowing Randy.
I completely get that, coming from Randy. Yeah, no, I think there's good things coming from Darton. I think they've got some stuff planned for the future. So
yeah, I'm excited. I hope they can turn it around. I mean, they're a Michigan company. We're in Michigan. I mean, Darton was one of the first companies to give us a break, to be honest, right in the beginning. I mean, it wasn't for Darton, we wouldn't even be here, probably, to be honest. I mean, they really helped us along. And then I want to say we worked them pretty heavily till 2015-ish, 2014. Then all of a sudden they went cold turkey and like shut down all their marketing. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then as of all the way literally till today, they still haven't really done much of anything. So I'm hoping with Randy at the helm that they get back in the game, because right now, in my opinion, they're so far away from where they need to be.
Well, we brought some of the new Spectra hunting bows in the shop this year, and I'll tell you what, that they're smooth shooting bows. They're great shooting bows. I mean, lights out. So
yeah, but the Spectra is not necessarily a new bow, right? That came out 2 years ago, and they've been calling it a 21, 22. They might change something, but like it can't be very much.
Like they widen the limb pockets. They put the E system on it. They changed the grip angle a little bit. There was some minor modifications done, but yeah, it was a good shooting bow.
Yeah, I just I feel like they don't hold up to the overall. The bows are fine. I just feel like they're not holding up with the idea that the other bow manufacturers do, which is whole new name, whole new bow, move on. we don't alter it and change and call it a 22 like it's not an F-150.
Right.
you can't just reuse the name when none of your competition does that, in my opinion, at least. I feel like you have to create something new each year just to keep up with them. And knowing Darton being literally one of the oldest companies in this industry, you would think they would be at the top of that, but crazy. Pretty cool though. Anyway, you should get that account. What are you doing? Should be all A3 strings on those babies.
They build their own. They build their own.
Yeah, tell them don't waste it. Call Randy to get rid of those string.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm playing around with your customized string builder on here, and these color combos are pretty. I mean, what do you offer? 16, 17 different colors?
Yeah, I forget what it depends on which, BCY's got more colors than Bloodline does, but we have every color available. So we actually hired a company to come in and take high resolution photos of the actual fiber.
It looks sick.
And we use that fiber color as our fiber color palette. So, depending on the resolution of your screen, you're looking at what your bowstring is going to look like.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
What would you say is kind of the most popular thing right now? Most popular colors?
Right now, Viper green. So Bloodline last year, we talked to them. We've been doing a lot of volume business with them, and they offered us a custom color. So we have our exclusive color is Viper green. So we're the only company out there that has it. And that probably has to be the hottest color on the market right now.
I got to get these bowstrings on mine, and then get some custom Converse to match them as well.
Yeah. Tim and these custom Converse, baby. It's so fun. He won't stop talking about it.
That
You
is
guys
like
know you can get custom Converse on their website?
It's sick, man. They got like 16 different colors, and you can do the outside. You can make some Punky Brewster shoes outside.
I should have got them going. I wound them
I
up.
mean, it's kind of like
I
this
wound them up.
bowstring,
Bad
Yeah.
idea.
So this is like a running joke, is like, people go, why is this guy buying another set of bowstrings? I'm like, well, he changed his shoelace color.
There you go.
Bowstring color.
That's exactly what we talked about. I said, if we're gonna do custom color bowstrings, and we got to match the shoes to the strings, then
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it.
Viper, I guess the second hottest color would probably be like a flow orange or a flow green. Since we launched the visualizer where people can really see what they're going to look like, we've done some pretty wild ones with different pinstripe colors. So I think the Hoyt that I sent you guys, the pinstripe in there is Viper green, so that you
Yeah,
can
it
see.
looks sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks sweet. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it in the show and when we bring that one up. But I think the look overall, the quality looks so amazing. Everything was nice and tight, and I'm really excited to shoot those and get them going. So tell us about your hunting season. What do you have coming up this year? Do you have like a whole bunch of plans, or what do you usually do, I guess, for hunting season?
Typically we go to Montana every year. This past year I did not go. I kind of put forward focus in the company. We had some things going with the company, business trips and whatnot. This year we've got a huge move. Like I said earlier, we're moving from Washington to Wisconsin. So getting the shop set up, getting organized, getting people onboarded. That's kind of my primary focus this year. So I did mention we bought 100 acres. So, if anything, it'll be some whitetail hunting in Wisconsin.
There you go.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can't beat that. So talk to me a little bit about bowstring maintenance. Like, we've installed the string. Now what do we do, like, on an ongoing basis?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, after you install that new string, most builders, if they're not ours, put a couple 100 shots through them, take them back to the shop, put them on the draw board, make sure they're in time. Anything, like 452X, a wax product, that bowstring is going to tell you when it needs maintenance. If it starts looking dry or you start seeing a bit of fuzz, throw some wax on it, wax it up really good. I always tell people kind of build up a little heat in their fingers, as they're working the wax into the string. But other than that, just keep an eye on it, inspect it before use. We go to Bloodline fiber, like, what we build most of here. It is waxless. It has no wax on it. It has a proprietary coating that literally never needs wax.
Awesome.
So it's just a really, really great product. I'll say it again, we get faster speeds with it. It's abrasion resistant. It's water repellent. It's temperature stable. And what I mean by that is, when you have a wax product against a waxless product, the wax in the bowstring if you take it from, 70 degrees in your house to extreme cold, that wax gets cold and things start to contract. Just the opposite goes if you jump out into 100-degree weather, that wax starts to get loose and things start to get longer, grow a little bit. So, that's called wax deformation. And with the bloodline fibers, you don't have that problem.
Wow.
So let's say I have a bow, had it for a couple of years. What should I be looking for in regards to my screen with my let's not your strings, but the string that came with the bow? What should I be looking for? What should I be concerned with when I'm looking at it? Or visually inspecting it, what should I be attentive to?
Yeah, I always tell people, follow from the loops, go from the loops and then follow it around the cam system. Look at any kind of abrasion points, make sure that the serving's not separated or not the serving's not fuzzing up like it's being cut against something. We've seen people with, have a little rock or something in the cam that it's eating on something. Follow all the way around, look for serving separation, any roller guard points. Make sure we don't have dust and dirt in there that's causing abrasion. And just overall the health of the string. If you get a couple strands that are cut, it's time to get a new string.
Yeah.
That
makes sense. And obviously, if you have any questions, I'm sure your local dealers, will
absolutely
help you out and look for it as well. Now, your strings, can people buy them through dealers? Do they have to go direct to your website? How do we get a hold of your A3 strings?
Yep. So our main point of sale currently is a website. We do have about 25 dealers across the country, a couple overseas. But yeah, we're growing. I get a phone call or an email just about every day with a new dealer looking to buy A3 strings. So we're growing fast. I'm kind of throttling some of that right now until we get, of course, get the shop relocated and get back going full steam ahead. But
ramp up that production, right?
Yep.
Good deal, man.
But the key to our game is, I don't let people build bowstrings when I hire them. They're going to work 3 or 4 months before they even start building a bowstring that may even resemble something that goes to a customer. So we want to make sure the quality is key. We're not a quantity-based company.
Yeah. Now I know both hunters and target archers, they're both replacing their strings, with A3s and all that kind of stuff. But do you see, like in your world, do you see hunters doing it more now than they used to? I kind of have this feeling like, with what we talk to archers about in the industry and stuff like that, that customized strings, different colors has become a lot more popular in recent years.
Yeah, you see a lot of the customization, people want to match strings to their sights.
Don't forget the shoes.
Yep, gotta match the shoes too. But target archers for the most part, they're just as happy to shoot a solid color bowstring. You see a lot of the hunters that want the customized look. So
how long do strings usually last in general?
That's a loaded question. It depends on
how much you shoot
and how much you shoot. That's the honest answer. Most people can get about a year and a half out of a set of strings if they take care of them, and they're the average backyard shooter. We've got one of our shooters. He shoots a lot of indoor, a lot of ASA stuff. And he just told me that coming out of a season last year, he had clicked like 27,000 shots on a set of bowstrings.
Wow.
So,
oh my God.
And he was telling me that to tell me that nothing moved.
Wow.
So that was kind of cool to hear.
That's a lot of shooting, but that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's very cool. So this, I don't think a lot of people think about, when they buy their bow. That's the reason I asked the question, is because you buy a bow and I don't think they realize, like, hey, just FYI, you probably should consider every couple of years swapping out, your cables and strings, because obviously it's the right thing to do. And if they're starting to wear or whatnot. But I guess the best way, I know you mentioned a little bit about adding the wax, but is that the best way to try to maintain it throughout that time frame is just to keep waxing it. And how often, I guess, how often do you recommend waxing after every shot, or like after like once a month, once a week, or after a hunt?
It's really going to depend on how much you shoot it. If you're the guy that's in there shooting every single day, you're probably going to wax your bowstrings once a week. It depends on the conditions that it's in too. Is it hot? Is it raining? Is it, so there's really no one correct answer. Just let the bowstrings tell you when they need maintenance. If they start looking dry, they start fuzzing, put some wax on them.
Yeah, makes sense.
How I know, a lot of guys are shooting, that 70 pounders nowadays and all that kind of stuff, but how much strength are in these strings? Like, how much weight can they actually hold? Is that called, am I right? And that's called like the tensile strength?
Yeah, that would be tensile strength or break strength. Yeah, absolutely. So I was talking with the owner of Bloodline, and we were just talking about that like last week. And believe it or not, a bowstring could pick up the better portion of a pickup truck.
No way.
No way. About 2,000 pounds. Yeah.
Wow.
And, you hear people talk about creep, their bowstrings creeping, or, what they are perceiving as creep. And we get that question a lot, well, how much do your bowstrings creep? Well, that's perception. That, to make a bowstring creep, you have to put it under about 80% of its capable load for hours. So shooting your bow, you'll never see that ever. So it's kind of a falsely put around the industry. Because like I said, a 70-pound bow is never going to put, 80% of 2,000 pounds on a string.
That's it, Brett. I need a 20-footer so that I can keep it on me when I'm off-roading for the next time then. Get stuck in those mud holes. We're gonna use an A3 string to pull us out. That'll be quite the TikTok video.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But that's actually a lot more than I expected you to say, in all honesty. That's super surprising.
There's, people, when you get into the fiber industry, you got to apply a safety factor to everything. And it's like, when it comes to a bowstring, there's so much safety factor already built in that it's kind of ridiculous that they, at the end of the day, strand count, we're trying to hit an outer diameter. We're not putting strand count in for strength. It's really to hit that outer diameter to make that bow perform how it was engineered.
Yeah. So with that much strength, then a compound bowstring would be the same as what you would use in a crossbow, then, even though the crossbow might have a lot more tension in it, right? So
you got to add some more safety factor when you get into crossbows, because they are very violent. So where we put 32 strands into a bowstring, or if we talk about 452X, we put 24 strands in it. You may have 28 strands or 30 strands in a crossbow string.
Gotcha. And you do those as well?
Yep, we build them. If it's got a string, it can be shot, we'll build it for you.
Awesome.
Now, crossbow.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, it's just the crossbow strings. Is it, same with the bow? You're just kind of watching for that fraying, or is it more frequent that you need to have maintenance on those?
You really need to look at those and keep looking at those, because they are a lot more violent than, say, a compound bow. You're really looking for serving separation, because that serving is what's keeping things away from the bowstring.
Right.
So yeah, just paying a really close attention to make sure that everything's staying intact.
Okay.
I know there's so many times we get new crossbows into the studio, and we wax them, we get everything prepped, and like you shoot it the first time, and you still kind of can smell that string burn a little bit for the first couple of shots. Yep. And it's I've always looked at it, man, there is just a lot of energy being shot through those strings. If I can smell something like after we're shooting it, so
yeah.
You smelt it, you dealt it.
Speeds. Yeah, smelt it, I dealt it. That's right. Especially with those speeds, that Raven and 10-point are pushing out now with the 500 plus stuff. I can't imagine the kinetic energy that's built up in those strings, and there, a potential energy, I should say.
Yeah, crazy.
Absolutely crazy where everything's gone over the last. And that's really what they started off with 400s maybe 3 years ago, and now 3 years later we're up to 5. I don't know where we're going to go next with this stuff.
Crossbows seem to be, they're about the only instrument that they're gaining speeds with. In the compound world, it's, if you want to go fast, you're going to lose shootability.
Yeah.
If you want a really good shooting bow, you're going to lose speed. It's a give and take. Crossbows are for sure gaining in speed. I don't know how much faster they can go, but yeah.
I know that we've also switching gears a little bit, have kind of seen an uptick in traditional archery as well. There's a lot more people that have shot compound for years that want maybe a different experience, different hunting experience, or even new archers coming in that are taking up those traditional bows. Have you kind of seen the same thing?
We have, and it's funny, but some of it follows the movies that are on TV. We find like what was the movie a few years back, or the Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Recurve and longbows were flying out the door. You couldn't keep them in stock.
Crazy.
Now you've got what is it? The Hawkeye.
Yes.
We get and it's the 15, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that they're just flocking to it. We've probably sold more recurve and longbows this year than we've ever sold before.
Yeah, I've never seen a traditional or compound or crossbow or anything in which you can fight somebody with a knife and then still want to pull it back and shoot an arrow out of it, though. I don't know if that's a safe thing to do, but I always loved the green arrow, because the green arrow, they have what looks like an Oneida, one of those old school, like traditional type looking bows, but it's a compound, but it's the old school Oneida ones, which are pretty cool, which actually Oneida is making a big comeback lately in what they're doing too.
I read something in it. It was either the Oneida or it was the Muzzy fishing bow that they painted up. It was one or the other, but similar. Yeah, similar.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. It might be I know the Muzzy that you're talking about, and that might be actually the Muzzy. It just always reminded me of those old Oneidas when they were around way back in the day, but they're still around now. I know that who bought them? Bass Pro, that's right. So they're they're still big in the bow fishing world for sure. So
I wouldn't use them in a compound world though.
I don't care who owns them. Slowest bow I ever shot in my life. Yep.
That's the first bow I ever broke.
Super loud.
Yeah, I don't care who owns them, and I'm sure they're trying to do the best, but man, tell you what, it's not made for speed, that's for sure.
No, and they were loud too.
Loud.
You took it away
Very
from
loud.
The very first one sounded like you were shooting a shotgun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
And you don't have the speed to catch up with.
What is your favorite bow to shoot?
My favorite bow to shoot, man. I just got the new RTX a few months ago. PSC sent me an RTX. I'm not fully in love with it yet. My go-to is the old Perform X, PSC Perform X. I know it's a couple years old, but I can get behind this bow and just sit there and take it to Pound Town, man. It just, I can shoot a bad shot, and for whatever reason, it still goes in the middle.
Is that a custom camo job on that, or no?
No, that's actually PSC makes this color. It's called Good Vibrations, and it's for autism awareness.
Wow.
That's really cool, man. I like that.
I like that.
We kind of, I don't know if you can see the strings, but we kind of did the strings in the same color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Very cool.
Good deal.
Never seen that camo. That's cool.
No, that is a really cool camo. I've never seen that either. Not in the bow world. In the gun world, I've seen. Yeah, but even what is that? 3 or 4 colors in there. Gun world, you're only getting 1 or 2 still. So that's that's pretty awesome.
I got an Evo EVL 34 that I just absolutely love. It shoots well, shoots good. I'm getting some pretty decent speed out of it. As far as hunting goes, the EVL for me.
Good deal.
Cool.
Well, we cannot wait till you guys get fully up and running over in Wisconsin and everything's ramped up, and can't wait to see where you guys go over the next couple of years, man. It sounds like business has been amazing. Sounds like you're on an amazing upward trend and got dealers knocking at your doors. So hopefully our listeners here will see, your bowstrings in a dealer shop near them soon, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And once we get settled and get shopped, you guys are more than welcome to take a trip from Michigan to Wisconsin and come check the shop out.
We might just have to do that because we've had some invites to Wisconsin for some archery charity events out there from HHA, and we might just have to try to make that work. It's been tough scheduling things this year to get out of town, if you will, for even a weekend. But more and more stuff is going on in Wisconsin, and we might just have to make it over there soon.
Yeah, we can start the trip. We'll go to the Gearhead factory and go check Skip out.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, they're all over that way.
Yeah.
All right, Brent, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for watching the BowHunterPlanet podcast and listening where you get your podcast. And we hope you have a wonderful day, night, or evening. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.